German, no? Finally, they don't have the word chase.
Okay. Oh.
Paul, you said that we should ask some questions when we came back.
Yes, please. Let's first determine where we are. We are 5 lines from the bottom on page 165. And that's where we start at the beginning of the line. And we just finished talking about the principle of tam. Tam v'seichel and tam v'oinek. Okay. Welcoming questions.
That's my question. Not where we are. I mean, I remember we reviewed it. We went through the entire idea of the seichel, which is Miles and Midas, and the idea of the tam of seichel, but the tam of einik. And we say that it's the ratzon, which is Mila, and the seichel it says it's a ratzon atzmi.
Right. And yet,
meaning just like the etzem and nefesh is independent of any reasons or anything like that, it exists unto itself. So too that this ratzon exists unto itself.
From the nefesh.
From the nefesh. But then it says that there is a tam, a hidden tam, which is the tam, and it's good.
They can't put it together. We didn't finish discussing this, and let me explain. What does it mean? Tam, the seichel tam b'rotzen, tam b'einik. I pointed out, starting that the word tam literally is in Lashon Kodesh is used tam, meaning reason, and tam also means taste. How are these two things related? Mahatam. When I say mahatam, what's the taste? It's obviously a borrowed term to denote
Which bit is borrowed?
Using it as reason. Taste is something that does not need an explanation. I taste it. I like this taste. Why do you eat it? Because I like this taste. Do you need any further explanation? No, that's an explanation. So when you say, I have a reason for it, it's called a tam, because this is the end, this is why I'm doing it. And in this there are two levels. There is a tam that is based on seichel. The seichel tells me that this is the right thing to do, and that is the tam why I'm doing it. And then there is tam v'oinek. That what is behind this rotzing? Why do I have this rotzing? Because I have an oineg, I have a personal affinity to this inyan. And because I have an affinity, I like the Russians understand the word affinity. I relate to it. I feel comfortable with it. Just like in our very fundamental moshel that we explain seichel, we say that a human being does things in a certain way because he is human. Doesn't need any further explanation. Right? I eat with a spoon because I'm human. And that's an explanation, even though there are other parts to it. It's comfortable and it's clean and all that. But I'm human, it's respectful. I feel comfortable doing it that way. Yeah, I just want to finish, yeah. So, tam, the oineg, means that the nefesh has an oineg from this inyan. What does it mean it has an oineg? Not the pleasure like I'm pleased to eat a grape or a candy. It has a personal relationship to it, like the nefesh wants a lakus. Nefesh can only relate to godliness. Why? Because that's where it belongs. That's its inyan. A human being wants to be amongst human beings, wants to be human, wants to live a human life. Why? Because he is human. He has an oineg, he feels comfortable in that. And that becomes a reason for all the various things that he does. But it's not a reason, it's a tam oineg. It's the tam of it is that this complements him. This makes him he feels comfortable in that way, in that environment. So we have two levels of rotzin. We have a rotzin that is based on reason, what's called tam v'seichel. I feel comfortable because it makes sense to me. I see this is right. I want to, let's say, take an example. I want to help this person. I want to help this old lady across the street. Okay? And my seichel tells me it's the right thing for me to do to take her across the street. That seichel itself comes from the fact that I'm a human being. And a human being is concerned, wants to do good things. But I have a seichel, I can explain it. That's tam b'seichel. So this rotzain is a rotzain that is below seichel. Now, there is an explanation as to what I'm doing.
He wants to help her because why?
Because his seichel tells him that it's the right thing to do.
But it's not by virtue of being human?
Yeah, the seichel itself is born by virtue of being human.
Does it make
You
sense?
understand?
Does it make sense to say, like, the tam is like, I relate to it because, or the relation to the previous is because, the reason is, like, my relation to it is, my tam. Is that like way off?
No, I don't know if it's off or not, but I'm not focusing in. I can't focus in your approach.
You said tam.
We're talking about rotzin.
Something we relate to, right?
We're talking about rotzin, and the rotzin has a tam.
Right. So
A tam means that it makes that it may make it. This is what relates me to the sin, and that's the tam.
So I relate to it because of the seichel.
Right. I relate to it because it's right. Because my seichel tells me it's right. Why does my seichel tell me it's right? Because it's a human seichel. That's already a higher level. Being human is already higher than seichel. In other words, why do you want to be human? Do I have a reason for it? I am human. And then there is a rotzoin that's my nefesh, that I cannot encapsulate. I cannot define it, contain it, and verbalize it. Express it in seichelic terms, in logical terms. What's so good about it? I can't say. But I have an oineg in it. This is all like relating to the essence itself, to the human quality itself, or to the nefesh itself.
from the etzem of neshama. So this is also like a tam atzmi. This is an einig atzmi. It's not.
Right.
But so why is it that the Rebbe says that this is shalamayla? I'm sorry. Lamayla mehatam. It's above a tam. Why did he choose to say? Why did he choose to contradict himself? To say it's above a tom, but it is a tom. Why not just say it does have a tom, but its tom is a very high tom? Why say it's above a tom, but it is a tom?
Right. Because this tom of oineg is a subconscious tom.
What is it subconscious?
It's not. He's not aware of it.
Not that it is?
He's not aware. He doesn't. It's komus. Just, I'm sorry? It's more subtle than being conscious of. That's why it's called komus.
But that is a reason.
It is a reason, but it's not. No, it's a reason. Seichel, we have to put things in proper place. Seichel is a conscious structure, understanding. If somebody asks you, you can explain it to him. And you ask yourself, you can. And moreover, reason is something that you figured out. And we spoke many times. It's important to understand. Seichel means that there was a moment that I did not know it, and then I thought about it, and I know it. I'm aware that I got this information. Okay? To know how to eat, for instance, in our simple example, I have to figure out. I have to think, what is the right way to do this? Where am I getting that information? On the basis that I'm human. That I'm human is not something that I found out. I was always human. From the moment of birth. This is not something that developed, something that I learned. This defines me and myself. I learn to translate and interpret humanity in a practical way. That I learn. But being human is being human.
You can't describe it.
You can describe it. It's right. And it's not. You can describe it, and it does not come. It does not come through a process of description. It's not something that you find. It's something that you are.
You said komus before?
I'm sorry?
Komus?
Komus, it says komus. Komus means concealed. He said,
Concealed?
yeah, hidden.
Um,
One second, there's somebody other question.
So, is it if you trace something back far enough, is it always going to come to Ratzin that's Shemaila Minasechel? Because you said before, if you ask someone how they understand something and they say, it's just how I understand it, like, how do you understand this? It's just how I understand it. Like, why with this?
No, the seichel is always. Seichel, the idea of seichel is that I can explain, I can argue the point. Since seichel is a discovery, I discovered the idea. Discovered, so I know how I came to it. So this is tam v'seichel. Tam, the oineg is a tam that reflects the very person himself. That's why it's called komus.
Right. But,
It didn't come to, yeah.
but things that you pursue by way of being human, if you pursue something to your save to a certain point, you go deeper into it, and you reach a point where you say, well, this is how it is. This is the way it is.
If you want to go beyond the seichel. The seichel itself makes perfect good sense. If you want to know, how come, this is going beyond the seichel. You can go beyond the seichel because seichel actually has a base, it has a source. The source is the nefesh.
Is that the same source as the idea of being a human being?
Yeah,
So that's a delight?
right. That's the light at this level, on the human level. It's not the light of the nefesh, of the nefesh. This is called,
I relate to
it's called
human-
nefesh asichlis. You know, when you talk about nefesh hodom, talk about many levels, and it's called nefesh abamis, nefesh achiyunis, nefesh asichlis.
Delight, you said, is related to Nefesh HaSichlis?
No, this level of delight.
Alright.
This, no. Delight is higher than nefesh asichlis.
So things that a person does by virtue of being human are traced to the nefesh HaSichlis.
Right. It is a principle with the human being that everything that he does should go through his seichel, should make sense to him. That's nefesh asichlis. And if it doesn't make sense, he feels uncomfortable with it. Yes, you too.
Actually, I'm not sure if it's. I'll take a class because I don't want to take this off topic. It's related, but I'm not
Okay.
close.
Okay. Now, let's come back and identify Rotzin. These are all individual koiches. When we look without examining very closely, very carefully, it seems all one thing. They all blend together. I want this. And then you say, why? Because of this. So what is the difference? What is the difference? What is the distinction between saying, I want this because of this? Why is the because seichel and I want this rotzin? Seems to be a continuous flow. Because of this, I want this. So the seichel sort of wants it. Why do we distinguish between the seichel and the rotzin? And we have to understand that these are individual koiches, and they have quite different natures. And to what extent is it different? To the extent that seichel will never bring you to action, no matter how well you understand it. When does a person get to action? When he actually has a rotzin, when he translates in a rotzin. That this is the right thing to do does not translate, I'm doing it. In the human structure, it doesn't translate in that. Oh, yeah, I agree with you. It's the right thing to do. Now let me go to sleep. When does it translate into action? And this is why they have a complete complement of full-fledged human being, that then it translates in a rotzin.
So seichel itself never will bring you to action, but seichel through rotzin will bring you to action.
Well, it's not the seichel anymore. It's the rotzin.
So it moves over to rotzin.
Moves over to rotzin. It moves over to rotzin. The rotzin represents, you have to understand this, the rotzin represents a different force, a different power of the nefesh than the seichel. The seichel says this is right. The rotzin represents that part of the nefesh that says that which is right, do. That's a different thing completely. That's a completely different phase, different power of the nefesh. As a matter of fact, even though the rotzin comes from the seichel, as we said, right? But it's much more powerful than the seichel. And it's much more representative of nefesh than seichel. In the sense that the nefesh is real, right? The nefesh is a real entity. Seichel can be said is theoretical. It's not real. Hypothetical. Rotzen cannot be hypothetical. Nefesh is not hypothetical. So therefore, even though it goes through the process of Seichel, but when it comes into Rotzen, that reflects of the real essence of Nefesh more than Seichel.
Seichel can be academic, but Rotzen cannot be
No,
academic.
Rotzen cannot be academic.
So if a person wakes up in the morning,
Hmm?
the person wakes up in the morning, right? And the Seichel tells them that instead of going back to sleep, you can get up now.
Right.
Start his day early and right, and all these things. He's not actually gonna get up, and what's the chances to Ratzon?
Unless he translates into Rotzen. This is the right thing, and he has the soul power, which is a separate thing completely. I mean, a completely different level. And it's right, do it.
So, person A and person B both understand it's right. Person A gets up and person B doesn't.
That's right. As a matter of fact, I'm yet to find a person who does not agree that it's right. But I have to find, easy to find a person who cannot get up and do it.
So why is it that person A can translate Seichel to Ratzon and person B cannot?
Cannot is not a correct statement. Huh? He doesn't. Cannot is not correct. But in general, clearly this is beyond the so to speak, the scope of this discussion here, but I wanted to understand Rotzen because we understand Metzach, we come into Metzach, we understand Rotzen. The Inyan of a person following through from Seichel into Rotzen is requires a direct connect to the nefesh, and let's say like this. You have even the same person. Sometimes he's in a better mood, sometimes in a weaker mood. When he's in a better mood, then whatever is right, he gets up and does. When he's in a lower mood, then he does not. What's the difference? The difference is that when he's in a stronger mood, he feels the power of his nefesh. He feels the I have to do. When he is a little bit depressed and lower, he doesn't feel his I. The seichel can function. Yeah, it makes sense. But even then, the seichel functions because it makes sense, not because he has a personal relation to that seichel.
When he feels high.
What?
He feels high?
I. He doesn't feel his I. He doesn't feel himself.
That implies that in this case, a bit of yeshus is good, no?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a different aspect of yeshus. A yeshus that says, I have a mission to accomplish. That's also yeshus. But that's a yeshus that commits him to a mission. A yeshus that we are negating is a yeshus that says, I need to feel comfortable. You know, that's a completely different yeshus. I have a mission. I have a mission to do. That's a yesh. But that's a yesh that is the result of recognizing that there is a king who created me, who gave me value, who gave me a place in the world, who gave me a mission. That's a yesh, that's a good yeshus. Yesh the Kedusha. That's a good yesh. Excuse me?
There's a chassid that used to say, I am a chassid of this and this.
That's
ever.
right.
How could I ever transgress?
That's right. That's right. And now they're coming back. Okay. So now he says, "V'hine neged beze family rotzin elu," corresponding to these two types of rotzin, yesh bez bechinas mitzcha. There are two types of bechinas of mitzcha. Mitzcha means what? The metzach. Metzach. Physically, the rotzin is represented with physically in the metzach, in the forehead. The seichel is an internal process. We can now relate it a little bit to, why it's represented in the mitzcha. The seichel is an internal process. It doesn't show off. It doesn't show externally. I understand. I know it all. What do you see externally? You see the metzach. In other words, the metzach is when I actually express myself. Not I understand. I express myself. I say, this is me and I want to do it. That represents the power, the soul power.
Ratzon or Seichel?
No, the Rotzin. And that's represented in Metzach. In Tanakh, Metzach Nechushi it's called. Copper Metzach, copper forehead, it's copper Metzach. A person who has chutzpah, a person who can do disrespectful thing, taivas, whatever, disrespectful things, and he's not affected. It doesn't bother him. He's got the chutzpah. He's called I'm a chutzif. I'm a chutzif also comes from the word metzach, because he is not sensitive. In his metzach, he's not sensitive to what's going around him. He just goes. This is called metzach nechusha. Sensitive. He's not sensitive to what's going on. Not metzach nechusha. Nechusha means a copper, like an iron. Steel doesn't feel what's going on. He just goes his way, goes through the wall and breaks it. That's what we call a mechutzef. But then there is a metzach, a proper metzach, where he carries through, he does what he needs to do, because it's the right thing. It's the seichel directs him, this is the right thing, and he has the metzach, the strength to carry through his conviction. It's called the strength of conviction. The power of conviction, that's metzach. But it's a different, it's a proper metzach. So Rotzoin is represented physically, in the physical body, by the metzach.
I still don't understand the connection of Rotzoin and Metzach. I mean, I understand that it's an external thing, and I don't understand how.
You really need it, okay.
I missed something?
No, you didn't miss anything. I just, usually I don't go into the Kabbalah terminology because, no, but it's okay. Look, you want to understand. I don't want to leave you without an answer if you ask a question. In the human face, all the finest qualities of a human being are in the face and in the head. The eyes, you can see, hey, there's a special thing in the eyes, bright, shine through. The nose breathes. The mouth has all kinds of different qualities. It pronounces all kinds of sounds and all that. The ear, everything. The forehead is a blanket shield. And it's a major part of the head, of the face. And when a person is excited, a person has discovered something profound, what shines up? What lights up? His forehead. What does that tell you? that all the other koiches, the eyes, the ears, and all that, these are all have a context. They have seichel. I see this, I hear this, I taste this. The metzach, the rotzin, this is the conclusion. This is the ultimate conclusion. That's the reality of it. Because it makes sense, because it's good, because it's beautiful, therefore, that's what I want. That's a blanket conclusion. That's why it's represented in the Mitzvah. Once it goes into Rotzoin, then it just goes. Because that's my conclusion. That's what I decide. That's what I want. Okay, so then, since there are two levels of Rotzin, thus there are two types of mitzvah. It says in Zohar, I mentioned before. The Hine. And he explains it now. Behorodzoin shall pi haseichel. And the level of Rotzoin that is al pi haseichel, that is based on seichel, that can be explained by the seichel. Harei, there, be'ei shem mizboinem b'sichli, during the time that he reflects in his seichel of this inyan, and he recognizes the value and the truth and the goodness of this, the correctness of this idea, v'noi led etz leho rotzoi, and as a result, the Rotzoin is born. The Rotzoin is born, it comes out. And as we discussed before, the Rotzoin is born. Why is it born? Because since that this Seichel is correct, and it tells him that it's the right thing, so therefore this becomes a conduit. What conduit is? A highway. It becomes a means by which the nefesh can now express itself.
Through the seichel.
Right. The seichel allows the nefesh to explain itself because the seichel fits with that nefesh. And now the nefesh says, "Oh, I have a place to express myself." Therefore, Therefore, then the Rotzen is born. Harei HaRotzen. So then, at that time, the Rotzen is who becheshek utshuka, is with great desire.
The conduit is the seichel,
The seichel becomes like a conduit for the nefesh, which expresses itself in the form of a Rotzen.
Does it go from oinig to seichel? Like you feel it and then you think about it?
If your question is, how do I get to think about it? No. How I got to think about it is because I had a question in front of me. How should I act? I had a question on the seichel level. Okay, that's how I thought about it. How I came to the seichelic conclusion that this is the right thing, there's a source for it. Okay, but it's all on the level of seichel. Okay, just like in our example, I have to eat this plate of food. It's a question, how I eat it. And I think, and I come to the conclusion, I have to use a spoon. Okay? That, wherever the source of that seichel is something else, but the conclusion is here on the seichel level. Okay? So then the rotzen is becheshek utshuka. Because the rotzen is with great desire, u'b'hispoilos gdoila, and the great excitement. The rotzen at that time, because now the seichel is vividly describing how this is the good thing to do, and the nefesh relates to a good thing, so the nefesh comes out with great excitement. Oh, I really want to do it. V'cheshuk etshuk. G'doyla. V'yesh loy chayus b'zeh. And thus, he has chayus b'zeh. Chayus means life. It means he is into it. He is personally into it. He is not just doing it externally, like he's forced into it. He is personally into it. He's involved in it. That's means chayus.
The nefesh is excited and wants to do, or the ratzon is excited and wants to do?
No. The rotzin comes with great chayus.
The nefesh always wanted it, and the seichel brought it out, or?
That's also true. But the main thing is that you didn't know. The seichel now creates this rotzin, and at that time the rotzin he comes out with great excitement, and he is really involved in it. He's not doing it externally, just with his hands and feet. He's fully into it. That's mean chayus. Okay, so that's at the time when he is actually misboin and involved in the seichel, and it's vivid in his mind. At this time, this is a good thing to do. Therefore, he's very excited. Abba b'meshech hazman, but over a period of time, kishem mistaleg haseichel mizeh, when the seichel removes itself from it, v'nishkach etzloi, and he forgets it. The seichel gets forgotten.
What does that mean, the seichel gets removed?
Okay, I'll explain. Good. Mistaleg haseichel mizeh v'nishkach etzloi. The seichel, as we explained a moment ago, is a process. Seichel is not something that I'm always aware of, and it's a constant thing. If I'm into it, if I'm actively pursuing it, that's a seichel. When I'm no longer actively pursuing it, so then this seichel is no longer vivid, it's no longer there. Not that if I try to understand it again, I will not. If I try to understand it again, I will understand it again. But right now, the seichel is removed. I'm thinking of something else. And even if not thinking of something else, the seichel is not seichel is a state of activity. It's an active state. There's no seichel in a passive state. Passive. Huh? Okay. No, you know, but in a passive state there's no seichel. Seichel you have to concentrate, think, and dig in. So if he no longer is active in it, so the seichel is removed. And if the seichel is removed, v'nishar horotzin levad, and then the rotzin remains by itself. The rotzin does not go away just because the seichel went away. Why? Because the rotzin can be in a passive state, in a sense.
The rotzin can be in a passive state. The rotzin can be in a passive
The rotzin, in a certain sense, it can be in a passive state. I mean, certainly when a person's asleep, he doesn't have rotzin. But rotzin is an action, but it's not an action on a conscious level. In other words, this is an action of the nefesh itself, like we explained. The rotzin is an expression of the nefesh.
You mean it can sit in the back of your head that you want to do something?
Yeah. Without concentrating, right. Yeah. Once you decided this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. So therefore the Ratzon remains levad. And it's no longer activated and excited by the seichel. Harei, so then, gam shoisik bozeh, even though he is still involved in it. Umedaber, and he speaks, v'oise bozeh, and he performs, does his thing. Harei hu bli shum hispoilus, but it's without any excitement, or bli chayus, and without involvement.
Isn't it should be opposite? If Ratzon remove and Seichel remain there, he is acting but without any chaos?
No, Seichel will not bring him to action at all. To action, like we said before, action is only through Ratzon.
But even Ratzon without any Seichel, he can active
Yes.
with chaos.
Yeah, no, but there's no chayis because there's no life in this Ratzon. I just know I have to do this. This is my.
It's not Ratzon, it's he knows he has to do it, and that's it. It's
Yeah, that's
without,
it.
It's not without Ratzon. He has to do it. He doesn't want to do it, he has to.
No. What means he has to do it? Not because somebody is forcing him. Because it was decided by him that this is the right thing to do, and he wants to do what's right. Therefore, he wants to do it. But this is not a Ratzon that he is completely involved in. This is a Ratzon that is only on the practical level. I want to do it, not that it draws the whole person into it.
When we say that the intellect, the seichel is nostalgic from it, do we mean to say that it's possible he doesn't even remember why he's doing it? That you're going to say like
It could even be that much.
like he just gets like this is like habitualization.
This is not capitalization. It's a foregone conclusion, and that's a decision, and this is what he's doing.
It's like a person that gets up.
Let's say a person goes through a process to decide to go to yeshiva. Right? Everybody here had to go through a process to decide to go to yeshiva. At the time when the process was being actively pursued and explained, understood, this is the thing to do. Then the Ratzon is created, and that Ratzon draws him, is involved the whole person.
Pursuit.
What?
Pursued.
Pursued. Pursuit means looking into it and trying to figure out and making a decision. But then after you come to yeshiva, you don't pursue again every day. Why am I in yeshiva? I'm here. I'm not re-examining it all the time. I'm not reinventing it, recreating it. I'm here. Then you can be in yeshiva, and you still definitely want to be in yeshiva, but you don't have that high, that excitement all the time.
Yeah, but it's like you go to a Ratzon to want to go to yeshiva. The chayes to be in yeshiva comes from a completely different source, right?
No.
Like you get the impetus. I want to go to yeshiva. And you think about it over. You come to an enterprise. You come to Ratzon, and that's it. I'm going to yeshiva. Okay, but that's only a one-time process. Now you're in yeshiva. It's no longer the same intellectual process that made you want to go. That keeps you.
Wait. In the Ratzon, in the seichel that convince you to go to yeshiva, I want to go to yeshiva, there are two parts. There are the part, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be in Florida, and therefore I want to be yeshiva. So that part that I don't want to be in Florida is completely dissipated. I'm not there. But then there is the part I want to be in yeshiva. That part is still valid. It's still active. And yet it becomes more passive. And the chayas and the excitement, it comes all kind of lifts. It goes away. Even though the rotzoin is still there.
What about those someone that like they at one point they realized that it was in their best interest that they had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they went through the process and they got the ratzon and they woke up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. So they've been waking up so much that it's not even. I mean, obviously they have a ratzon still to get up at 6 because they get up at 6. If they had a ratzon not to get up at 6, they'd still be in bed. But at this point, they don't even know why it is. He said, "Why do you get up anymore?" They're so far beyond where it was that got them. I need to get up at 6. It's become like their habit. It's become there's no.
That's exactly right. And therefore, the first several times that he gets up and he recognizes the value and the benefit for doing that, he is very excited when he gets up. After a while, he no longer pays attention to it. He no longer becomes consciously aware of the benefit. He's doing it. He doesn't have that excitement anymore, but he's still doing it.
And this is the idea of the seichel being nostalgic from the
Yeah,
ratzon.
that's right. He's not aware of what's the benefit.
It's possible it can work the other way around. That the ratzon goes away, but the seichel stays.
Yeah.
That's what he asks. No, the rotzen doesn't go away.
No, but is it possible for such a thing to happen that the ratzon, the same
Yes,
seichel
it's
that
possible.
gave birth to a ratzon?
Yes, it's possible the rotzen should go away, but this is what we said before. When he falls off, and when he becomes lethargic, and he loses excitement of life, then the rotzen can go away. The seichel can still tell him, "Get up, you idiot! No, nothing happens."
But it seems like the two are very related because it seems like in everything that you begin with a ratzon, God forbid to say in matters of Yiddishkeit, but it starts off with just kind of like losing the chayus, losing the vigor. First you kind of slowly just like say, okay, so yeah, I'll do it, I'm not so excited. But eventually it seems like that also leads to a loss of the ratzon itself. Because eventually a person comes to the point it's like, I'm not doing with chayus, so what do I even care anymore? Let me just not do it altogether. This isn't what I originally started with. This is not the same.
Okay, so here's the thing. The rotzen does not represent the excitement. In other words, you don't do it because I'm excited about it. I'm doing it because it's the right thing. I have a rotzen because it's the right thing. Except in that there are two levels. There is when I feel and I sense how it is right, and when I don't feel and sense how it is right. But it's not dependent on the excitement. I'm not doing it because I'm excited about it. Rotzen does not.
Results from doing something that's just right.
Right.
The chayes is not a byproduct of the seichel. It seems like it's a byproduct of the seichel, and when the seichel goes away shortly after the chayes.
The chayes is a byproduct of the seichel when the seichel combines with rotzen. Because the seichel itself is not chayes.
Right.
The fact is, it doesn't get him to do anything. How can it be chayes? When the seichel
I see.
combines with rotzen, then it becomes chayes.
But then when the seichel goes away,
Goes away to the
he's
chayes.
left with the ratzon, so after a bit the chayes also
The
goes.
chayes also lifts off.
So when a person does something that's right, and he carries out through his ratzon.
I'm sorry?
When a person does something because it's right, that's how a person functions, right?
Right.
So if he no longer realizes or is thinking about why it's right, that's when the seichel is rising.
Right, that means the seichel is no longer active.
So when you said it's two ways, meaning it's one is with this and one is without it, where he has the seichel involved and he's not
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah. Yeah, but the rotzen is rotzen. There is a time when the seichel for the rotzen is avid, is functioning. Then the rotzen is full of chayes. And then there is time when it's not. But the Ratzon doesn't change. Once there was a conclusion of the Seichel that this is the right thing to do, the Ratzon itself doesn't change. If the Ratzon should change, that's because there was a completely different change. A change in mood, a change of Chayes Bechlal, a personal fall down.
Why does it have to, when a person grows, his Ratzon changes. A person's intellect grows, and therefore the Ratzon, which results from the intellect, changes.
Sure, because it's a new, the Seichel creates a new Ratzon.
It doesn't have to be necessary. Maybe I'm misunderstood.
Okay?
So a person should learn what's highest. That means they should be involved with other seichel about why they're doing it, why they're learning.
Learning is the action of Seichel itself. In Seichel itself, this we're talking about the Seichel that leads to action, leads to a Ratzon. But Seichel itself is also an action. You understand? So that action of Seichel should be Betachayas.
Because seichel is the action that's going to.
In this case, the Seichel itself is the action. When he appreciates the action, when he experiences the process of Seichel, that itself gives him excitement. That's a separate, completely different aspect that what we are talking about here. That the Seichel itself is the end product, is the action.
It's a different.
Different aspect completely. Yeah. So then the Ratzon remains bli shum misparus u bli chayus, rag b'derech heskim levad. It is only b'derech heskim. What's mean heskim? Agreement, conclusion. He is maskim. Haskom. V'hainu, meaning, mipnei shekvar huskam v'huchlat etzli. Because that it was already concluded, he already agreed, and it was concluded by him, lirtzois bozeh, to want this. You have the next page, everybody? 166.
What was this behind the Mipnei Shkvar?
Huskam.
70%
Should be on the back side.
No, I don't have it on the back side.
No? 166, no?
Well, there are other.
On the pages on it.
Okay, just we're not going to go very far. Huskam v'huchlat etzloi. It was agreed and concluded by him. Lirtzois bozeh, to want this. Harei hu roitze ato gamkin. Therefore, he wants it now also. Once you join somebody for the few moments.
What race Ato?
Now. He wants it now. He still has a complete and strong agreement that he wants to do it. And with that heskim, with that agreement, he does it because he had concluded, he had decided to do it. Ein bazeh chayus v'hispoilus. But there is no chayus, there is no involvement or excitement. He does it because he knows that this is right thing, and that was his conclusion. I made the decision. But the important thing is, ahaheskem hu betoikev. But the conclusion and the agreement is betoikev. Toikev means with full force. It doesn't become disinterested. It doesn't become secondary. It is still a primary rotz. He still wants it. But what's missing is the spoilers, the excitement.
He has the power, but it's not the excitement.
Right.
Don't lose any of the power.
Right. He's still absolutely doing it with the full power.
All this above
Because this is a rotzoin. This is a rotzoin hanefesh.
it can be passive.
What?
It can be passive.
It is there even if there's no excitement, but that's what he wants.
This is all only applying to the Ratzain, which is Malam Midas. Right? Because we're talking about the dissipation of a Seifel. So obviously we're talking about the
That's right. L'mayla mehamidus, but rotzon al pi seichel.
When the seichel kicks it off, then it can just go unlimited off. Yeah?
Excuse me?
Can it go
Yeah.
unlimited forever? Or
Like
does
we
it-
explained
does it
before.
also die down after?
It can die down because his personal strength dissipates. He can be in a bad mood or whatever. But mitzad heskim, it remains. It remains. Why? Because even though it was created by seichel, but it isn't the seichel that holds it up. Seichel only revealed it essentially. But the inyan is a rotzin from nefesh. Because rotzin is a koyach nefesh. And as long as he has this nefesh, he has this rotzin.
So just because you move the conduit of seichel doesn't mean that the Ratzain will stop expressing itself.
Right. It's connected to the nefesh, and that's how it goes. Just as in our silly little illustration, he understood that this is the right way to eat, and then, it really made sense to him. But then every time he comes to eat, he knows he's never going to eat any other way.
And you connect this idea of being connected to the nefesh to the in of like being in a good mood. I mean, is there any other way to describe it? Like,
No. A normal person doesn't have to be in a good mood or not.
yeah.
Normally, person, that which there is a nefesh, an active and a forceful nefesh, so to speak. And the forceful nefesh consists in the fact that if I recognize that this is the right thing to do, I pursue it. I conclude to do it. The smooth business is somebody else. Is it possible that you should understand and not want to do it? That is possible when he has a weakness, a personal weakness. But normally a person pursues and wants to do that which he understood to do. But this because there's a koyach nefesh in the rotz.
The idea that once the intellect is removed, that the Ratzain can still exist. I mean, time is, I don't know if this is correct, but time is back to everything we learned before. That why is it that a person can come to the aspect of das, of Hakara Inyan, because it existed, the Nikud existed in that it was in his Hakma, it already existed in the Etzem and the Shama.
That's right.
So the Ratzain, which is born from this entire process, it also existed in Neshama. Therefore, all he needs to do is, this is the idea of the connecting it through the what, I don't know.
To the seichel.
Yeah, but you use use the word to describe the aspect of seichel.
Conduit.
The conduit. So the conduit is only kind of connecting what the Ratzain, which was in the Neshama, to the Etzem and the Neshama. And then you can remove the conduit, because the truth is they were already together to begin with. You're only kind of pulling it out and bringing it to the surface. Yeah?
Right. Because, and this is the final nakuda, and it's a little difficult, a little subtle. We'll elaborate on it next time more if you need it. This is his seichel. if it's his seichel, he understands it that way. That means that this seichel actually fits with his nefesh. Therefore, this rotzen is not an artificial thing. Artificial means, right? It's not just a superimposed, external. It's a rotzen that reflects his nefesh. And therefore, if he found that he wants this, now he discovered it. He has his rotzen. He came to that conclusion. And that becomes his rotzen. He doesn't need the seichel anymore for this. Nevertheless, the excitement is off. Because he does not see the full value of this rotzen. He only knows this is what he wants, but not the full complement, the full neshama behind what's contained in it.
He saw it before, or no?
Hmm?
He saw it before?
He saw it before doing the seichel, but then afterwards he doesn't see it. Want to shut off the tired of it?